You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, Internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Hey, this is John Preston, Marine Combat Veteran and Pacific Records recording artist. Just reaching out to have you check out our new album, Battle Cry, Songs of America's Heroes, an album featuring phenomenal other combat veteran artists like Scott Brown of the Scooter Brown Band, Ryan Weaver, Rowdy Johnson, just an incredible mix of people. This is all veterans telling our stories and our lives, and we're giving 100% of our proceeds to the Valkyrie Initiative to help veterans and first responders integrate back into society. I myself have battled with post-traumatic stress for many years and lost my own brother, a Marine Corps veteran, to suicide. I ask that you step with us and make this happen. We are in pre-order right now and release on March 17th. Go to iTunes, go to Amazon, buy. We plan on making the charts and making it at a very high level, and your support right now makes a difference. This is the release of my new song, Superman Falls, which is actually about the loss of my own brother, which happened last year, and I would love for everyone to check it out, to listen, and hopefully it'll make a difference in many lives.
If you're 85 or younger, would you like peace of mind and comfort for your family? We're Final Expense Direct with an urgent message for you. The average funeral today costs over $8,000, but the most you'll get from government benefits is $255. How will your family pay the difference? We can help. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam. You'll have lifetime coverage, and your plan can't be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. Call now for free information about our senior plans. Answer a few simple questions and receive approval right on the phone. Plus, call right now and we'll give you a discount prescription card for free. Call 800-553-8687. That's 800-553-8687. Again, 800-553-8687. 687.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it. There to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Sometimes riders feel lost, unsure why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, offering manuscript critiques and line edits through a mentoring editorial style. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services, visit blackwolfeditorial.com.
Here's George Foreman with InventHelp.
Hi, I'm George Foreman. Do you have an idea for a new product or invention? People ask me all the time, George, how do I get my idea in front of companies? How do I get a patent? What do I do next? Do you have the same questions? I'll tell you like I'll tell them all. Call my friends at InventHelp.
Call InventHelp today for free information. InventHelp has been helping inventors for more than 30 years and has sales offices nationwide. InventHelp can submit your invention to companies who are interested in receiving new ideas. If you have an idea and want to try to patent it and submit it to companies, you should call InventHelp today for free information.
Listen, I can't guarantee a company will be interested in your idea, but I believe every inventor deserves the opportunity to step into the ring and take their best shot. Put InventHelp in your corner.
Get your free inventor's information. Call 1-800-353-6490. That's 1-800-353-6490. Again, 1-800-353-6490.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, Internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
My name is Jessie. I'm a United States Special Forces widow. This gives me a unique perspective on the world around us. If you're willing to listen, I'll tell you how I see it, and I won't pull any punches. This is my POV, which stands for Point of View. All right, this is Jessie. How y'all doing out there today? What a weekend. No, seriously. What a weekend. Did we just hear the first shots of World War III? We shot down a Russian fighter jet. We had a U.S. American who has returned home from North Korea pass away today. We had so many things going on. All right, for those of you who are new to the show, when there is a U.S. military death that I can track down the information on, I end my show on taps. I will be ending the show on taps today. So, how does this go? All right, I do my show, and at the very, very end, I give you all the information I want to give you, and then I read the names and any other pertinent details that I have, usually from official releases, about those who I'm honoring on the show, and those will be the last words you hear from me. After that, I will play taps, and the show will end there. There will be no spoken word after taps. I was asked why I do it this way. I feel taps says it all. I feel to speak after taps would be disrespectful. Sorry, Host Kitty needed me for just a second. Alright, let's start with Otto Warmbier. I'm going to play the statement Trump made earlier today.
Otto Warmbier has just passed away. He spent a year and a half in North Korea. A lot of bad things happened, but at least we got him home to be with his parents, where they were so happy to see him, even though he was in very tough condition, but he just passed away a little while ago. It's a brutal regime, and we'll be able to handle it.
All right, so that's what President Trump had to say about Otto Warmbier's passing. I'm betting there's a lot more going on behind the scenes, but out of respect for the family's loss and grief, I want to mostly let the official statement stand. I do have a couple things to add. And I am not saying that Otto is, I hate to say this, Otto Warmbier chose to make the trip to North Korea. And you've heard me on this show. If you are a regular listener, you know for a fact that I have said many times, please, of all things, do not go to North Korea. Also, do not travel to Tehran, and I would not advise traveling to Syria at this time. I have a friend who right now is in transit to Europe. I even suggested they keep an extra sharp eye out. We've had terror attacks in London. Recently, several. Now, thankfully, they are not going to London. But that doesn't mean my worry for them is any less. It's been quite a weekend. I mean, if you think about it, we look like a nation at war. We do. We look like a nation at war. And I don't like to think about the men and women coming home in caskets to Dover. It's not what any of us want. Trust me, and some people are like, well, that's just what you say. Okay, for those of you who doubt the sincerity, I'm going to remind you one more time. I have a husband who is serving active duty. He just left for another country. He will be gone a year. No, it's not technically a deployment. It is a 1-year hardship tour to South Korea. But does that make anything any easier? No. It doesn't. It just means at least I know I'll be able to contact him when he can get Wi-Fi or an internet connection. That's what it means. That's all it means. Now, what happened to the USS Fitzgerald? I believe it was an accident. And for those of you listening, I am over in the chat room at klrnradio.com/chat, and I do have my Twitter notifications tab up, so you can catch me either way. And if you're listening this via Memorex, you can always shoot me an email at the station, Jesse's POV at KLRNradio.com. Now, I'm going to do something a little out of order because we're nowhere near a break. I just want to play this.
They also serve those who stand and wait, praying by the foe to learn their loved one's fate. But they're still in the war, and let there be no mistake. They also serve those who stand and wait.
That's an audio clip from a John Conley song called They Also Serve. And it tells about the families of the men and women in uniform. Yes, the crew lost people. No doubt. However, those families also lost. Those families lost their sons and their daughters. The crew lost their friends. They lost people that they worked side by side with. And let me tell you a little something about the military community. The military community is just that. It becomes your family. I don't know what you're thinking, but trust me. They become your family. The man to your left and the man to your right, or the woman to your left and the man to your right, they become your brothers and sisters. They truly do. They become why you fight. They become the people you most want to protect. They become the ones you spend the holidays with, the ones who are there for you when no one else is. Because you're thousands of miles away and you can't get a phone call home. They're in the same boat you are. Literally or figuratively. I don't care what branch of the military we're discussing. Trust me, they are your family. So my heartfelt condolences go out to the families of the fallen. Especially the fathers and mothers, fathers particularly because this past weekend was Father's Day, who have lost their children. Yes, it's been a long, rough weekend. I put my spouse on a plane to a foreign country this weekend. I read about the death of 7 Navy sailors. And then I heard about we shot down a plane. I've had a lot to process this weekend. Now that I've kind of ranted and raved, there's the show prep. You knew it was coming. You knew it was coming. So, what I'm going to do, and I've decided to do this for a couple minutes, for a minute or two while I get some show prep pulled together. I'm going to play just a little bit of John Conley's That They Also Serve. Because I don't want the families to think I don't know of their pain.
Stay behind and wait. They also serve those who stand and wait, praying by the phone to learn their loved one's fate. But they're still in the war, and let there be no mistake. They also serve those who stand and wait. Jake climbs on the school bus, marches bravely to his seat. His dad's not home to say so long, like his friends along the street. He has to be the man at home as long as daddy's gone. He promised him the day he left that he'd be brave and strong. So he tells his little sister, don't you worry, daddy's coming home. He's 8 years old, he's a soldier's son, and he can hold his own. They also serve those who stand and wait, praying by the phone to learn their loved one's fate. But they're still in the war, and let there be no mistake. They also serve those who stand and wait.
All right. Thank y'all for bearing with me. I got some of my show prep organized. I got a new printer, and it does things a little differently. And I'm still sorting it all out. So, yeah, got a new printer. You don't want to know the fights I had with the old one. Oh, boy. Woo, doggies. This tells you how new. I still have in my stack of show prep Connect sheets. You know, the things that the printer test pages. Yeah, I was fishing those out of my show prep. That ought to tell you something about how new I'm talking. There's another configuration status sheet. Like I said, it's all in here somewhere, kids. So, we are going to get on with the show. There's been a lot. There really has. And I'm going to be upfront with you guys. I'm going to do my darndest to get through it all. But I got quite a stack here. And I got the Stafford Voice hot on my heels. Followed by America Off the Rails. Oh yes. So let's start with Russia and the plane. Why Russia? It was a Syrian plane. Do we really need to go through our Middle East scorecard again? Do we? Do we really need to remind you about the Middle East scorecard? Really? All right. We're going to do it real quick. Quick, fast, and in a hurry. President Bashar al-Assad is propped up by Iran and Russia. I mean, seriously, by Russia, but Iran's got its fingers in that pie too. Iran and Russia are trading partners with North Korea, whose other big brother is China. Although China seems to be pulling back a little bit. It's all tied together, kids. So that's the quick overview of our scorecard. Could I continue this out further with Turkey and other? Yes. But we're going to end it there because those are the ones that are most prevalent right now. All right, Russia warned the United States Monday that any U.S. or coalition aircraft flying west of the Euphrates River in Syria will be tracked by Russian warplanes and anti-aircraft batteries. It was a swift reaction to Sunday's shoot-down of a Syrian Su-22 bomber by an American F-18. We don't know if Russia has the capability to track the dozens of sorties flown by the U.S. and coalition fighters. Now, I do have something interesting. Remember, I have friends in the region. Yes, I do have friends in the region. There we go. And one of them is a flyer. For who? Don't worry about it. Alright, so this was approximately 10 hours ago. Russia waters down the threat to the U.S.-led coalition aircraft. Now Russia says it will escort all coalition aircraft. A few minutes ago, they said they'd be tracked by Russian SAMs as targets. Looks like we have the night off for the humanitarian flights into Syria. We've nicknamed it Hunt for Red October rules. Yes, that is a message from a friend of mine that is in the region right now. I'm not even going to tell you what country he flies with. All I'm going to say is he's part of the coalition. Okay, that's all you need to know. That's all I can say. But like I said, It's been quite the weekend. All right. So, our fighter pilot, for the first time in years, shot down a Syrian warplane. An American fighter jet shot down a Syrian warplane on Sunday after it dropped bombs near local ground forces supported by the United States. The first time the American military has downed a Syrian aircraft since the start of the civil war in 2011. The confrontation represents a further escalation between forces supporting Bashar al-Assad and the United States. And of course, we are directing our military campaign in Syria against Daesh, or ISIS. I prefer Daesh. They hate it more. So, it had to do with the Dar el-Azor. It's an oil-rich region, but it's also inside the deconfliction zone. And the confrontation in Syria began Sunday around 4:30 p.m. local time when American-backed Syrian ground fighters, who are officially called the Syrian Democratic Forces, came under attack by what the Pentagon has described only as pro-Syrian regime forces and were forced from their positions in Dajin, south of Tabuk. Several of the American supported fighters were wounded. The United States had airlifted hundreds of Syrian fighters and their military advisors near Tabqa in March in a generally successful push to cut off the western approach to Raqqa. To scare away the adversary forces, American warplanes have buzzed pro-Assad troops in what the Pentagon called a show of force. That appeared to put an end to the fighting, and the Americans sought to defuse the situation by calling their Russian counterparts from the Al Udeid base in Qatar. But the Syrians were not finished. At 6:43 p.m., a Syrian Su-22 warplane dropped several bombs near the American-backed fighters. Attempts to warn the Syrian plane away from the fighters were attempted, using an emergency radio frequency. However, this attempt failed. An F-A-18 Super Hornet was patrolling the area after launching from the George H.W. Bush aircraft carrier. It quickly shot down the Syrian plane. American advisors were notified in the vicinity were immediately notified of the bombing by the Su-22. And according to the rules of engagement, collective self-defense of its Syrian partners is part of the valid rules of engagement for American fighting men. The official statement says the coalition's mission is to defeat Daesh in Iraq and Syria. The coalition does not seek to fight the Syrian regime, Russia, or pro-regime forces partnered with them. But we will not hesitate to defend coalition or partner forces from any threat. So you can imagine the chaos that is reigning. Yes, it's raining chaos. And it is time for me to take a commercial break. And I will see you on the other side. Don't forget you can join me in the chat room at klrnradio.com/chat or tag me in a tweet at Jessie'sPOV.
But they're still in the war, and let there be no mistake. They also serve those who stand and wait.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Hey, this is John Preston, Marine combat veteran and Pacific Records recording artist. Just reaching out to have you check out our new album, Battle Cry, Songs of America's Heroes, an album featuring phenomenal other combat veteran artists like Scott Brown of the Scooter Brown Band, Ryan Weaver, Rowdy Johnson, just an incredible mix of people. This is all veterans telling our stories and our lives, and we're giving 100% of our proceeds to the Valkyrie Initiative to help veterans and first responders integrate back into society. I myself have battled with post-traumatic stress for many years and lost my own brother, a Marine Corps veteran, to suicide. I ask that you step with us and make this happen. We are in pre-order right now and release on March 17th. Go to iTunes, go to Amazon, buy. We plan on making the charts and making it at a very high level, and your support right now makes a difference. This is the release of my new song, Superman Falls, which is actually about the loss of my own brother, which happened last year, and I would love for everyone to check it out, to listen, and hopefully it'll make a difference in many lives.
If you're 85 or younger, would you like peace of mind and comfort for your family? We're Final Expense Direct with an urgent message for you. The average funeral today costs over $8,000, but the most you'll get from government benefits is $255. How will your family pay the difference? We can help. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam. You'll have lifetime coverage, and your plan can't be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. Call now for free information about our senior plans. Answer a few simple questions and receive approval right on the phone. Plus, call right now and we'll give you a discount prescription card for free. Call 800-553-8687. That's 800-553-8687. Again, 800-553-8687. 8687.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it, there to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Sometimes riders feel lost, unsure why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, offering manuscript critiques and line edits through a mentoring editorial style. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services, visit blackwolfeditorial.com.
Here's George Foreman with InventHelp.
Hi, I'm George Foreman. Do you have an idea for a new product or invention? People ask me all the time, George, how do I get my idea in front of companies? How do I get a patent? What do I do next? Do you have the same questions? I'll tell you like I'll tell them all. Call my friends at InventHelp.
Call InventHelp today for free information. InventHelp has been helping inventors for more than 30 years and has sales offices nationwide. InventHelp can submit your invention to companies who are interested in receiving new ideas. If you have an idea and want to try to patent it and submit it to companies, you should call InventHelp today for free information.
Listen, I can't guarantee a company will be interested in your idea, but I believe every inventor deserves the opportunity to step into the ring and take their best shot. Put InventHelp in your corner.
Get your free inventor's information. Call 1-800-353-6490. That's 1-800-353-6490. Again, 1-800-353-6490.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
They also serve those who stand and wait, praying by the foe to learn their loved one's fate. But they're still in the war, and let there be sing. They also serve those who stand and wait.
All right. Thank y'all for hanging in there with me while we paid them bills. Yes, gotta pay bills even in Radio Land. Now, we also have the USS Fitzgerald. There's been a lot about this that's been said. There has. And I'm not going to go into all the stories of the seven. But let's talk about what happened. All right. The USS Fitzgerald was in port in Japan. It left port. It somehow collided with a cargo ship. How that happened is beyond my knowledge. However, the ship was saved. It did not sink. The ship was brought back into port by its crew. So, there's been a lot going on with that. Now, all right, at 2:20 local time, the USS Fitzgerald was moving through a busy shipping lane south of Tokyo when a 29,000-ton Filipino merchant ship rammed into its right side. The sudden impact crushed part of the ship where sleeping quarters for 116 sailors were located, as well as the captain's cabin. 7 sailors were killed. Following the incident, there have been a lot of questions surrounding how a U.S. destroyer with technical capabilities didn't manage to anticipate a collision with a merchant ship 3 times its size. Well, the Crystal reversed its course at 2:05 local time, shortly before the collision. And we don't know if either of the vessels was on autopilot. It wasn't a small collision. It's right by the pilot's house. It was a big puncture, a gash underneath the waterline. There were 3 large compartments of the ship severely damaged so suddenly the crew didn't have a lot of time to respond. This was a severe emergency. How many crew were awake? Who knows? But the ship did have a full complement. So, all right, I've got some of the audio from the press conference this past weekend. Let's take a listen to some of it.
USS Fitzgerald experienced extensive damage and flooding following a collision with a merchant vessel in early morning of June 17th. The damage included a significant impact to the starboard side and a large puncture below the ship's waterline. Quick response by the USS Fitzgerald crew saved the ship.
All right, that wasn't obviously from the press conference. It was another bit of audio about the Fitz.
Vice Admiral Joseph P. Alcoin said he was proud of the crew.
So this was a severe emergency, but the ship's crew was swift and responsive, and I can't tell you how proud I am of the crew for what they did to save the ship. So through the heroic efforts of the ship's crew, they prevented this ship from foundering or even sinking.
Yes, the ship's crew, their training paid And I know a lot of people sit there and go, why? 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 Why do we do this? Why do we do that? You just learned why. You just learned why. Because at some point, someone will need those skills. All right, I've got another clip here. I'm not sure about the contents, but we're going to take a quick listen. I just have it titled Fitzgerald.
Commander Douglas Pegger, Commanding Officer, USS.
Hang on. Let me get that sorted just a little bit better for you. I'm sorry, I'm just working on something here to make this a better quality. I did not get the time to fully prep as many audio things as I would have liked to be prepped, but I'm making it work. You know I always come through in the end. Alright, now that I believe I've got everything all queued up, and I apologize for that. Hey, hubby wasn't here today to keep me on task.
Commander Douglas Pegger, Commanding Officer, USS Steedham. Over the course of the weekend, all the ships on the waterfront were contributed to standing watches on board Fitzgerald to alleviate the burden from the Fitzgerald crew. And it's a testament to the close-knit community we have in Yokosuka that we were all able to come together. The support from all the commands has been fantastic, both the ships and the shore-based commands. The support ranged across the board, whether it's providing berthing for the sailors that were displaced, having uniform drives, clothes available, uniform items, PT gear. I mean, some sailors lost everything. And the base really pulled together through some of the relief organizations like Navy Marine Corps Relief Society, the Red Cross, but also just the local commands pulling together to provide for shipmates in need. So right now, ships on the waterfront are supporting Fitzgerald by manning some of the watches that would normally be manned by Fitzgerald. We expect over the next couple days that Fitzgerald is going to take control of their ship again, to reman their watches, and start taking responsibility for all of the efforts that are ongoing on Fitzgerald. This is going to be a long process, and that crew is going to be intimately involved in the recovery and repair efforts for getting Fitzgerald back to sea again.
All right, so like I said, it's a family. And the Navy family stepped up. Big time, friends. Big time. The United States Navy family, not only did they help sailors who lost everything, because water came flooding into that compartment at an alarming rate. Other ships have taken over some of the watches on the ship to give the crew time to process what's happened, pull it together, get uniforms and everything they need pulled back together so they can do their job. There were people medevaced. There were, including the captain. And that's an alarming sight for a shipmate, to see their captain yanked off the ship in a medevac situation. Yeah, you've got the XO, but trust me, there's no one you want to see or hear from more than the captain.
The ship suffered a lot of damage. 3 compartments were severely damaged.
All right, let me see if I can amplify that a little bit for you. All right.
The ship suffered a lot of damage. 3 compartments were severely damaged. 1 machinery room and 2 berthing areas. Berthing areas for 116 of the crew, and also the ship's skipper's cabin as well.
That's a lot of damage. I mean, we're talking damage to where up to 116 sailors would have been housed. And suddenly they've got to find space for 116 sailors. Now trust me, there's ways to make it work. The Navy calls it hot racking. Basically, your bed is yours only for the time where you're in it. When you're out, somebody else is snoring there. Let's see what this is. Sorry, that's the Japanese translation. Still on Japanese translation. Give me a second. Like I said, I didn't get a chance to prep as much as I would have liked. Let's check this.
So they were able to save the ship, and they were able to bring it back yesterday on its own power back here to Yokosuka, and you can see the ship behind me.
Yes, he was standing in front of the ship while he was giving his press conference. She was still floating. I guarantee you, the sailors aboard this ship are now bound by something, a bond that will be unshakable.
So the ship and the crew, they performed as we expected, very professionally. They were able to bring the ship back. The ship is called the Fighting Fitz.
Why is it called the Fighting Fitz? All right, I got that one.
So the ship and the crew, they performed as we expected, very professionally. They were able to bring the ship back. The ship is called the Fighting Fitz. It's named after a lieutenant during the Vietnam War that was awarded the Navy Cross for his valor during the Vietnam War.
So it's named after someone who won one of the Navy's highest commendations. I think that says something about that ship and that crew. Like I said, I know our military's had quite a blow.
So we owe it to our families and the Navy to understand what happened. Under my authority, we will launch a JAGMAN investigation into this collision. I will appoint a flag officer to lead that investigation, and there will also be a safety investigation.
All right, so he wants to know what happened just as much as the next person. And I'm glad he does. I mourn the loss of every U.S. service member in some way, even if it's just when I play taps here on this show. But I don't like to see men and women coming home in caskets unnecessarily.
And we recognize there are other organizations that have vested interest in this incident, and we expect them to conduct their own separate investigations, and more information will be forthcoming on those investigations.
I don't think we're going to get much more out of this audio from this press conference, but I did need to bring it forward. Now, let's get back to some of the other things that happened this weekend. Iran. Oh, yeah. Iran's Revolutionary Guard said it launched missiles into eastern Syria targeting Daesh in response to an attack on Iran's parliament and a shrine in Tehran, warning it would take similar retaliation on anyone else carrying out attacks in Iran. They launched surface-to-surface medium-range missiles into Syria's Deir el-Zor province, just as Daesh militants are fleeing U.S.-led coalition onslaught, increasingly trying to fortify their positions there. Now that I wasn't able to find damage or casualty estimates from the strike launched from Iran's Kurdistan and Kermanshah provinces. Social media was awash in shaky mobile phone footage, allegedly showing the missiles rise in an orange glow before they headed towards their targets. Sunday's assault marked an extremely rare attack from Iran amid its support for embattled Syrian President Bashar al-Assad's Iran's Revolutionary Guard. Iran's Revolutionary Guard, a hardline parliamentary force, has seen advisors and fighters killed in the conflict. So, now the Guard, remember, hardline group, said that many terrorists and their weapons were destroyed in the strike. What they hit, I'm not sure. They hit something. It may have been a tent and a few camels, but they hit something. That's all I know on that one. I mean, it's just unique that Iran actually fired missiles into Syria. The missile strikes are the first reported ground-to-ground attack from Iran into Syria since the Arab country descended into civil war. And it does represent a major escalation of Iran's role in the war in Syria. So, who knows? I'm not sure. But you can bet the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, they're a tough bunch. And the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps had vowed revenge for the Tehran attacks and accused Saudi Arabia of supporting Daesh in their operation. Shiite majority Iran and Sunni majority Saudi Arabia have never been friends. It's a sectarian feud. Remember, Shiites don't like the Sunnis. Why? You have to go back to the 6th century. They couldn't agree on who was to succeed Muhammad. Now, I've just got a few minutes left and a couple more stories because I do have to end the show on time, on taps. We've discussed Otto Warmbier. We haven't gotten to the terror attacks in London. And yes, I'm calling the van ramming into the visitors, those at the mosque, a terrorist attack. Yes, it was against Muslims. It's still a terrorist attack. In a city on edge over a series of Islamist-inspired attacks where police keep extensive watch lists and monitor potential militants, terror took a new turn. A van plowed into a group of Muslim worshippers on Monday. A man identified as Darren Osborne, 47-year-old Welshman from Cardiff, was allegedly behind the wheel. Witnesses said the driver was heard shouting after he was wrestled to the ground that he wanted to kill Muslims. It was chilling, but not entirely unexpected. Fears have been growing among Muslims here that they could be singled out by extremists in a tit-for-tat attacks because of other attacks carried out in the name of Islam, even though they are widely denounced by the mainstream Muslim community. So, it's very interesting. I do not support this kind of attack. I'm sorry. This was an attack on people who had just left a house of worship celebrating Ramadan. And in 2014, the mosque won a prestigious award for services to the community. Even before this attack, Muslims said they'd seen a sharp rise in hate crimes in Britain. Over the past weeks and months, Muslims have endured many incidents of Islamophobia. And this is the most violent manifestation to date. At least 10 people were injured when the van hit the crowd of worshippers that had just left a Ramadan prayer service at the Muslim welfare house in Finsbury Park. One man died at the scene. Abdulrahman Adros and his friends were attending to the man who collapsed when suddenly he saw a van driving straight into us. The driver did jump out of the vehicle and try and flee. He was subdued by an outraged group, but the mosque imam appealed for calm, stopping the man from being attacked. Muhammad said he flagged down a passing police car and told the officers, "There's a mob attempting to hurt him. If you don't take him, God forbid, he might be seriously hurt." The attacker allegedly tried to taunt onlookers as he was arrested, and he yelled out, he said, "I'll do it again." This area is a predominantly Muslim area. Fearing copycat attacks, many Muslims have asked for extra security for mosques and other sites. However, it's not determined yet whether British Prime Minister Theresa May will allow extra security. She is hesitant to put military on the streets to make the country look like a police state, and I can understand why. So, we've talked about Otto Warmbier. We've talked about the terror attacks in London. Now it is time, my friends. Join me in honoring the 7 deceased USS Fitzgerald sailors. I will read out their names. Before I get to that, just as a reminder, you can find me on Twitter at Jesse's POV. You can shoot me an email at jessespov@klrnradio.com. And when I'm here live, I'm in the klrnradio.com chat room. All right. Remember, there will be no spoken word from me once I finish reading this press announcement. The remains of 7 sailors previously reported missing were located in the flooded berthing compartments after divers gained access to the spaces. They were damaged when the Arleigh Burke-class guided missile destroyer USS Fitzgerald, DDG-62, was involved in a collision with the Philippine-flagged merchant vessel ACX Crystal. The deceased are Gunner's Mate Seaman Dakota Kyle Rigsby, 19, Palmyra, Virginia. Yeoman 3rd Class Shingo Alexander Douglas, 25, San Diego, California. Sonar Technician 3rd Class NGOC T. Trung Hayon, 25, Oakville, Connecticut. Gunner's Mate 2nd Class No Hernandez, Walesko, Texas, 26. Fireman Controlman 2nd Class Carlos Victor Ganzon Sibian, 23, Chula Vista, California. Personnel Specialist 1st Class Xavier Alec Martin, 24, Hallthorpe, Maryland. Fireman Controlman 1st Class Gary Leo Rame, Jr., 37, Elraya, Ohio.